everyone, I am Plankara, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So last time I had done the back hair and stuff. Probably got a few things that I want to fix up there, but more importantly, I noticed an issue over here with the connecting hair. Just, whoop, look at that go. That's a bit odd looking, so... Before I do anything, I want to fix that. Just this little bottom piece. It shouldn't be that hard. In theory. I'm pretty sure some vertices just got flopped about while I was fixing everything else and doing all the various experiments that I was doing to get that looking right. So with any luck, it'll be fine. Yeah, just need to kind of push everything around and find the right spot here. It's because I was trying many different things. And I was trying to get all that to look right. And apparently I neglected the bottom. The bottom is much more noticeable now that it's up against the white of the back hair instead of the gray of the background. So, now I can see there's a slight problem here. But it's alright. I'll get everything back into place here. And I think it was all worth it in the end to get everything else in just looking much better through there. Before it really did look like her skull was caving in slightly, and now it doesn't, so... That alone made it worth doing, I think. Just trying to feel out where all these vertices need to go now. Trying not to make any drastic changes here. And I'll just keep pushing them around until everything looks right again. I think I went a bit too far to the right there. That's why I didn't want to do anything super drastic. Because it's been so long since I've paid attention to the little vertices at the bottom there that I wasn't actually quite sure where they needed to go. It still looks like it's kind of going up. Let me hide that for a little bit, just so I can get a better feel for how things look underneath it. Because I think the answer might be in there. Not the one I meant to touch. There we go. That one. And at the very least, it looks like it's going well. I'm just trying to get the bottom vertices and the art attached to it into a slightly better spot there. Some of this may not be super important because it's going to be covered up, but I want to pay a little bit of attention to it just because I think it looks strange right now. Sometimes it feels like I'm never free of various hair parts. Always just wanting a little bit more attention. They're very needy. And it's alright, I don't mind giving them a bit of attention. It'll make everything look better in the long run. And I do think it's funny how much more obvious the problems with this area became once the back hair was turned back on and the background suddenly became a lot lighter. That's when it was dark. I actually didn't notice that at all. That's why I didn't fix it then. And now suddenly with this added contrast, it's like, oh, that's a problem, isn't it? I just think it's funny how that works out. Yeah, there we go. I think that works. I don't mind it kind of folding upward a little bit. I think that works. And I was also looking at the tip of this strand right here. And I never realized that it was squirming quite that much. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Try to ignore the body horror that is the ear. And get that strand into a better spot. Fortunately, the ear is pretty easy to ignore since it is completely covered by hair. And I know that I don't have to worry about it. It can look as bad as it wants, and it does not matter. But the only thing that could make it matter is if I felt like doing a bald toggle, which I don't. So, bald toggles are actually surprisingly difficult. With as many people start with bald heads, you know, that start with eggs, as they're called. You'd think that it'd be easier, but it's actually pretty hard. Because at least for me, I use the hair to cover up a bunch of stuff. And with the hair gone, it's like, oh man, I can't just leave it making it look like her head got caved in. Oh no. And so it's actually a surprising amount of work. That's okay. Taking on fairly detailed art like this is enough of a challenge for me. I don't feel the need to challenge myself with some of these other toggles and options that I could potentially do. Otherwise, I'd be working on this for like ever. And I would never finish. This is good enough for me. I've got a couple of toggles I want to do, mostly just taking off the coat. Because I think that'll be pretty cool. It's a small detail, but I think that will add something since there are several scenes where she is not wearing the coat. So, I think that adds something. And it'll be a neat experiment for me, see if I can figure out how toggle animations work. It's like I know how to make them, but I don't actually know how to, like, get the tracking program to recognize them, if that makes sense. Because when I've tried it, it's, only showed, like, the first frame where it's off and the last frame where it's on. And none of the stuff in between that I rigged. So that'll be something I need to figure out eventually. As much as I still feel like a beginner on the rigging end, I feel like even more of one on the tracking end. People have been able to do really cool things with VTuber tracking, and I just don't know any of it. Doesn't help that a lot of the resources out there are for VTube Studio, which can't really use with Inochi2D models, at least not yet. We have our own resources, but they're not super well documented yet. I've just been doing my best to kind of figure it out. It does seem like a lot of the tools that we're getting for Inochi2D are getting a lot better, though. I updated Puppet String recently, and the difference in tracking was actually really, really huge. So thank you for those updates. I really appreciate it. I think it's great that people are willing to put this stuff out for free. So this way people can make cool stuff and it'll be great. Right, and then on the back hair here. Just thought that here looked a little bit wrinkly, and I think some things might still be in the wrong place. But I wanted to get rid of the wrinkles first. I must have been getting tired by the end yesterday. So I'm kind of surprised that I was willing to leave it that wrinkly. It's okay. When I'm getting that tired, it's a good idea to take a break and revisit all these problems with fresh eyes and a fresh mind. Can get a little bit tricky otherwise, and also a little bit time inefficient. It's like, yeah, maybe I could have pressed on and got it perfect. But how long would it have taken as opposed to just taking a break, doing something else for a while, and then revisiting it when I'm not quite so tired? I think I felt like that went by pretty quickly. Already looks a lot better. And I kind of like the way that it's expanding outward a little bit and getting a little bit softer through here. Kind of following with the head turn. Alright. So I think it might finally be time for strands. Oh, terrifying. Alright. Oh yeah, that's right. I never did this one. I remember on the left side, I actually did this one really early. But here, I just haven't done it at all. Well, that's fine. I can do things in any order. And back then, I just happened to feel like doing it in that order. So let's get him on in there. Where does he connect here? Yeah, that's actually pretty close. I might need to adjust it a little bit, but that's fairly close to the right spot. Yeah. Just taking a look at the front there to use as a reference for where I should put this. And the little point where it starts does kind of touch right up against the bangs here. So I wanted to make sure to get him right in there. And so now I'm just trying to push this all into the right place. Ooh. Okay, that's not quite right. Definitely not quite right. It's alright, I'll start up here and work my way down the strand as always. I knew what I was going for in my head, but it did not work. So, I will try something else. Let me see. So this rubs up against like the bottom of the strand here. Yeah. So I did push it just a bit too far down. It was a little bit too high when I was working on it the first time. So it looks like I just overcompensated a bit and pushed it a little bit too far. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. Before I continue, I want to work out a few of those wrinkles. Make it look a bit less crunchy. And a bit less distorted. Just keep those triangles nice and straight. And the movement very soft and gentle. This is hair, after all. Gonna be fun once I can start putting physics on all this. So to tell myself, just gotta get all the head turns done. Once all the head turns done, it'll be time for physics. I'm very excited for hair physics. I will probably do those before eye physics. Normally I do eye physics first, but I've just been looking at the hair here and just been, oh, I want to put the physics on it so much. It's so floofy. It's gonna wiggle everywhere and it's gonna be great. And the eyes are comparatively boring, so... Probably won't do too much physics on the eyes, but the hair is gonna have a lot. And I want to do it like right now, but one thing at a time. Gotta keep telling myself this. Normally I'm willing to indulge my brain on things. I probably could do a little bit of hair physics right now. But I really do want to do the head turns first. Use hair physics as a reward for actually doing head turns. Yeah, there we go. Not sliding so much anymore. I'm just doing some intense staring to... I kind of sense a bit of distortion around that area in other places. Like, I can tell it's not from the little strand of hair I just did. I'm kind of wondering, where is this thing that feels off to me? I think it is right here. Let's see. It's really only very slightly off, but something feels amiss. That was not what feels amiss. It was not it at all. Did I not go? No, I did. Alright, then that is what is amiss. I just moved it to the wrong spot. Okay. There we go. Just doing a little bit more staring here. But I do think that mostly fixed what was bothering me, and now there's just a little bit right here. Just a teeny tiny bit. Don't want to move things too much here. I don't think there's that much distortion. Well, I guess it wasn't distortion, it was just something squirming and not looking quite right to me. And that fixed about half of it. Other half is that I pushed it too far to the right. So you can see man, it took a little while for it to want to respond to my mouse movement there. I feel like my mouse is pretty far away before it finally decided, oh, you want to move this? Okay. A little bit more. Just a little bit more. I want to be gentle, but maybe there's limits to being gentle. Now that I look at it, I'm actually seeing a few other things that I'm not completely satisfied with, so I'll go poke at those real quick. It's amazing how adding some of these small details can just make you see things that you never did before. Fortunately, they're fairly small details, so shouldn't take me that long, but I guess you never know. Perfectionism is a beast. A beast I have yet to fully tame. And sometimes it just comes out and does what it wants. It's okay. I don't mind letting it do that sometimes. I still feel like it's kind of being a bit strange, like it's moving downward. Okay, there we go. That's better. Alright, now let's actually check on that strand again. Do some intense staring around the strand. See what I got here. Alright, I think this strand is supposed to kind of line up with this pseudo shadow that's right here. It might have actually been a shadow for that strand, and I just didn't realize it when I cut this. No, I don't think so. I think that was actually just the edge of the bank there, but that is where it lines up on the front, so I can still use it as a landmark. I will pretend like it is a shadow for this strand. It makes me happy. And it makes sense in my brain. So this is fine. Okay, kind of feel like it's shifting upward a bit there. May not be able to completely use this dark area as a fake shadow for it. So it looks like the shadow area there got changed a bit. Just the way the angles shook out here. That's too bad. Maybe I should change the way the angle shook out there. And move it around a bit. Yeah, I think I can. It should be on this layer. Just push this down very slightly. Keep that little shadow in there. I think it's cute. Yeah, it's definitely cute. So I kind of want to keep it. Got an itch in my eyes that does not want to go away. Here we go. I think I got an eyelash in there. Sometimes I wonder how our bodies manage to keep themselves together, if just an eyelash falling off of your eye can cause that many problems. Bodies are weird. They really are very strange. It's kind of funny to think about that we're just running on a giant meat computer and that everything manages to work and stay relatively in shape. I guess depending on who you ask, they might not agree, but for the most part, our bodies, I don't know, they keep being able to do things. After all, that's ultimately why we're still alive. The degree of function varies from person to person, but ultimately, there still has to be a beating heart, a working brain. And look, it's looking like I've already kind of gotten to the bottom. I think it's funny how much easier the strands are compared to everything else. And this is probably going to be one of the harder strands, just because it's out right in front of her face. One of the ones that's the most important. I am glad I ultimately decided to separate this one, though. I was considering not doing so, but I think it's made my life a lot easier. It can be really easy to want to get lazy on art separation. And just like, is this really gonna matter? Sometimes no, but a lot of the time, yes, in ways that you'd never expect. It's just kind of funny how that works out. I thank for my past self for taking the extra time to make my life easy now. The work you did was not in vain. It has helped considerably. And made my life much easier. Be kind to your future self, everyone. Your future self will appreciate it. Do what you gotta do today, don't skimp out. Just kind of trying to straighten this out here. Got a little bit lumpy somehow. So I'm trying to work out some of those lumps. I think I overdid it. Made it a bit too round. Just a little bit too round. Not surprising coming from me. I think circles are great. Making things round is always a good time. But here it needs to be a little bit straighter to respect the original here. That's still a little bit too much. Let's just use the brush to get them all kind of back over there. Just a little bit too much. I don't mind it being a little bit rounder, just due to the nature of how the head is turning. But it shouldn't be too round. You don't want to overdo things, you know? Just trying to adjust this little area underneath here now. There's a little shadow there that I think could use a little bit more attention. Just need to straighten some of the things out around there. I think it'll be fine. Yeah. It'll all be fine. So my husband and I decided to watch Mob Psycho 100. And I read the original manga a couple of years ago. And I remembered really liking it, but honestly I had forgotten how just really good it was. Highly recommend it for... Oh, what kind of genre would I describe it? I guess it's technically a superpower thing. And, but I'd describe it as kind of a coming-of-age story told through raw shitposting, and it's kind of incredible. It really is. It's a very well-told story. Very thematic, very meaningful. But it's just incredibly silly. Very, very silly. And I think it's great that the anime managed to keep the author's art style, but make it incredibly visually appealing and just so interesting looking. Because the original artist, or I guess the original writer, not super great at art. It was definitely a case of he had a story he wanted to tell, but not necessarily all the tools for it. But I think this art style is perfect for something as just incredibly derpy as the way the story is told. So, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. And it does seem like the anime is following the original manga storyline very closely, so. Just the way it's playing with some tropes is really great, like the muscular jock types in the body improvement club just being the most supportive and wholesome people ever. it's super wonderful. I just always hesitate to talk about things too much because I don't want to have any spoilers here, but it just does so many things in a very interesting way, in a way that betrays expectations, but it stays very true to the story. So it's clear that they're not just betraying expectations for shock value. It's just incredibly funny. Alright, there's one strand. Time for the next one. Alright. So this is one where I'm really gonna have to, like, move the whole thing. So let's get a really big brush here. Nope, need to be even bigger than this. Just because the pressure kind of fades out as it gets to the end. And I want everything to move pretty uniformly. Okay. By the way, the fact that the brush pressure fades out is incredibly useful. Just gotta be ready for it. Got to know what to expect. And adjust the size of the brush accordingly. There are ways to get the tool to do what you want. There are ways. After all, the computer exists to serve you and your creative ambitions. So, there are generally ways to wrangle it into submission. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky with beta software, but Inochi2D is pretty good in that regard, I think. I don't generally have too much trouble using it. But I'd say the only thing that I really find a bit painful to use would be the animation editor. Everything else, it's pretty much worked out for me. Not that I don't look forward to all the new features. New features will just make it even easier. And with as easy as I already find it using, I'm honestly kind of amazed that there are going to be ways to make it even easier to use. Few previews of some of the UI updates have been posted in the Discord, and so far I'm intrigued to see where it all goes. Looking forward to the update. I think the lead developer said that 0.9, the version that's currently being worked on, would come out in December at the earliest. So I'm kind of hoping... Well, I mean, I'm hoping she can make December, but even if she can't, February would be pretty cool too. It's very exciting. Exciting, because then she can go back to adding features, and I think that'll be a lot of fun too. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping that this program will make this hobby a little bit more accessible to everyone. Live 2D is very expensive. In the case of this hobby, I actually mean rigging as opposed to VTubing. Just because I think there's a lot of room to make cool animated pictures, even if you don't make full models. I've done a few animated pictures, you know, my start and end screen. And I plan to do a lot more. I think the next illustration that I draw on stream will also be animated. So you can look forward to that. Even though I think I'm probably going to be going at this for another month or so. There's just a lot to rigging VTuber models. Let me see, something's off. I'm gonna do some intense staring. See if I can figure out what's bothering me here. Let's zoom in a bit too. Zoom in and stare. Okay, I think I found it. I just wasn't sure if it was the strand that I just added, or if I messed something up on the side bang. That's been there all along. Sometimes mistakes aren't obvious until some other stuff around them makes them obvious, so I wasn't entirely sure, but no, I'm pretty sure it was just this new layer. So, I will make those adjustments and try to get everything to look right. This little spot's proving to be a little bit difficult here. Don't know what his problem is. Maybe he didn't get enough sleep. Who knows? Okay, that's better. I think. And then I just noticed a small problem here of just this little piece just sticking out a bit more than it should. Honestly, kind of surprised I didn't catch that the first time through, but that happens. There we go. That should be a bit better. I actually think there might be more issues here that I didn't see than I thought there were. Sorry, little guy. Looks like I got a little bit lazy on you. It's okay, I'll make up for it now. Try to get you into better spots, where you're not squirming around quite so much. And everyone deserves a spot where they're comfortable. Never forget that. Just having to do some slight adjustments around here while I fix this up. And let's see, I think the angle on here is still a bit wrong. So I'll try to point him in the right direction. Literally in this case. Getting there. Just a little bit more to do. Right now, I think this point where these two little strands connect is a little bit off. I kind of want to get that in a little bit better of a spot. Yeah, the angle's a bit off too. Oh, this is what I was saying. Sometimes small mistakes aren't super noticeable until something else changes around them. And now that those areas or mistakes have made themselves known, I can go in and fix them. Make this area a little bit stronger than it once was. And make everyone in this area a little bit happier than they once were. Awareness is the first step. Never forget that. Once you're aware that something is happening, then you can take steps to fix it. Alright, I think once I make right here just a little bit less crunchy, everything will be good. Right now, just a little bit crunchy. Just a little bit. So we'll get this nice and smooth, just like I do every other part of this model. Nice and smooth. Still a little bit crunchy on the tip there. Can do a little bit more for this area, so let's. Let's try to figure out what's going on with this tip and why it's so unhappy today. I'm not quite sure what's wrong, but it's definitely seeming a little bit cranky. I don't know, it still looks a little bit crunchy there. Okay, but I see what I can do. Just needed to zoom out and see it move for me to see the error there. And now that I've seen it, I can fix it. That's just how it goes. Let's see here. Is that any better? I don't know, still a little bit of distortion around the edge there. I think I can do better than that. I don't want to leave this little guy feeling sad, you know? I don't know, it's still... How did it look here? Let me take a look and see how this is moving here. What is causing the distortion? Okay, I have some ideas. I do have some ideas, so let's try them out and see what happens. Right there was just looking maybe a little bit square. Like, yeah, why does that keep happening? That's so strange. I'm not sure why, it's just so hard right through there. Like you can see here, it looks a lot straighter than everything else around it. And I'm not sure why. Doesn't seem like it should. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Okay. Now I feel like it's a little bit short. So some shenanigans probably happened at some point. No, I just need to pull this down a little bit. I want it to look like it's going further into the back, not that it's getting shorter. Yeah, something like that. That's much better. That's much better. Also had a little bit of time to play some games recently, and I went ahead and poked at Rune Factory 4. It was pretty okay. I think the dungeon elements weren't super well integrated into the just regular slice of life gameplay. I think, like, I think it could have worked. The idea, I think, is definitely an interesting one. Where I think Persona in particular did a good job with the managing life and your daily life with fighting supernatural forces. I've rather enjoyed that concept for a while now. So I kind of wanted to poke at some games that do something similar. And while a lot of the integration wasn't too bad, it just, maybe just because I didn't much care for the combat system, it's too mashy, the weapons aren't very well varied, and that kind of thing. And in general, I felt like it was more about getting your numbers big than anything else. But it's definitely an interesting concept, and I think I want to play some more games that also explore that idea of just daily life versus being a hero. So if there's any games you think I should check out, let me know. I have, I guess in the similar vein to Rune Factory, I have played Stardew Valley. And overall, I think Stardew Valley does a lot of its stuff better. But it focuses much more on the farming aspect than it does the going out and being an adventurer aspect. And I think I am more interested in games that are interested in exploring the latter idea. Or you do a little bit of both. Combat in Stardew Valley always felt like more of an afterthought to me. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that it was added. Alright, there we go. Now I can add the next strand. It always looks so funny before I move everything over. Get a really big brush so I can just move everything. I guess I probably don't need to use the brush for that. I can just use the arrow keys. Maybe that would actually make more sense. Let's try it. Because I didn't like that move, so... Let's see here. Where are you? Right there. Too much. There we go. So you can see where I said that it was moving a bit too much there. That was me using just the arrow key. And if you hold down Alt while using the arrow keys, it moves a little bit less. I think the strand both got a little bit thin, and I think the bottom needs to be a bit higher. Go all the way out here, just so I don't move things around. There we go. Oh, let's make the strand a little bit thicker. Yeah, that's a bit better. And I don't mind this little loop here being more noticeable because with the way the head is turning, I think it would be. I think it would show itself a little bit more when you're looking this way. Yeah. I like this. Just gotta clean it all up a bit. Just need to make some minor adjustments here and there. I don't want it to be too far out after all. And I just need to make sure that all the curves are in the right place. Still kind of feels like this big curve is shifting downward a bit. So I'll go ahead and start pulling things upward here. Close, I think. Just a little bit at the bottom here. And I think once this little bottom part has a good spot to live, everyone here will be happy. And I can do the next strand. Not sure if I'll be able to finish them all today since I ended up finding a couple of errors that I wanted to fix. But I think I can get a lot of them. Strands tend to be pretty quick. They're going a little bit slower today than they have in the past. That's alright. I've said several times, there's no rush. I'm not racing anyone here, so I'm just gonna do what I want. There we go. Still feel like there's a little bit of squirming right here, so I'm gonna zoom in here and stare very intensely. Alright, so maybe something more like this. Just have it a little bit straighter than it was at the bottom. Maybe something like that. Let's see it. Closer, but not quite. I think maybe if I have it come out just a little bit more. Maybe it's not as shy as I'm making it out to be, and it just wants to be a little bit more prominent. After all, we should see a little bit more of that area with the head turning like this. That would make some sense. Okay, that was a little bit too much. A little bit too much. This area is now shifting downward, and that's no good. Don't want anyone to be squirmy and uncomfortable. Everyone's got a spot that they belong, and it's my job to find it. Just eliminating a little bit of shifting that I noticed. Yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty good. So let's do the next one. Right there. Okay. Oh my. You moved quite a bit, didn't you? I think this one should actually be completely hidden. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it to hide completely behind another strand. I'll try that first, and if I can make it work, then good, my life is easy. And if I cannot, then I will try something else. I don't mind the little curl sticking out a little right there. I think that might be kind of cute. No, it is not cute. It needs to be hidden completely. I think that little strand should actually be behind the back hair. Oh, I just need to get everything hidden behind this little strand here. But it looks like it's working, so that means my life might be very easy for this strand here. It's like right here. I was afraid that might happen. There's a little bit of distortion in the movement there. Let's take a look and see if I can fix it at all. I might not be able to. I'm not sure if it's worth dwelling too hard on. Frankly, it's such a small thing. Let me see. Actually, before I arm this, let me see. How is this breaking down here? Okay. Seeing the whole thing in motion, giving me some idea of maybe how I can fix it. Just seeing how the mesh turns here. So like, look at this little vertex was the one that I was looking at. Look at him move. Okay, now I think it's this one. So I think if I move this one upward a little bit, that'll help. Yeah, I think that's a acceptable level of crunchiness there. It's barely even noticeable. Yeah, barely even noticeable. I think this is fine. Alright, time for the next one. Okay, so you're the one that goes on the ear. Let's see here. The top of you should definitely show. But I think the bottom should kind of disappear. So let's see what I can do here. Maybe something like this. Just get the whole thing down there. Just let it all go behind her head a little. I think it works in theory. Let me make sure that I have this starting at the right point, because the starting point is going to affect a lot. The starting point is probably the most important. So that'll determine where I'm able to put everything else. And how everything else will move. It starts right up here. Yes, right up here. A little bit less sharp there. And then I'll just slightly adjust things here. There we go. Something like that. I think the idea is sound. I just kind of need to get everything in the right place here. I think some parts need to be a little bit rounder. 'Cause of course they do. Why wouldn't they need to be a little bit rounder? A lot of things are great when they're a little bit rounder. Just kind of keep that moving with the ear. More rounder. Need more roundness. I just need a little bit more roundness there, and then I think we'll be good. Yeah. Alright, now we just need to do fine adjustments. Just get rid of the last little bit of crunchiness here. And finalize the last little bit of roundness. There we go, something like that. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. So this is going to be the last strand on the left side here. And I think he might actually make sense to be completely hidden. Well, it would make some sense, but I think I'm going to let little tail stick out. I think that'll be cute. Just let the bottom kind of stick out right here. Make the hair look a little bit more lively and voluminous. Words that I only type and never really say. And then these last little bits are just to kind of up at the transition period. In those interpolated areas between the two keyframes. Yeah, I think that's cute. A little bit of shifting upwards, so let's go ahead and just slightly pull these vertices down a bit. Just a side effect from using the brush. No big deal. I can fix it pretty quickly. And with that, I have all of the strands on the right side done. And this is where I look and I noticed, oh, I forgot to do the hair that goes over her shoulder. Completely forgot. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on those layers. And that will be what I do next time. Get the shoulder clump. Finish the claw. I'm missing a layer. Where's the other half of the claw? There you are. Okay. So yes. Next time, we'll do her over the shoulder hair. And then I can go back to doing strands. It's okay. I got all the strands on one side done. And I think they look good. I'm pleased. It was good progress today. Tomorrow, the shoulder hair. Now that I remember that it exists. Very silly. Alright, well, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, or any other creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.